Hello students, in this video we will be studying chapter 3, that is Advanced Features in MS Excel. I have covered the first part of the chapter in this session. So the topics covered are Excel, a brief introduction, understanding Excel window, how to identify cell address, formula and function, using operators and functions like sum, average, min, max, PMT function, goal seek, product and square root functions, SUMIF function, and generating series in Excel. First, let's have a brief introduction related to the topic. Here I have used the screenshot of your book in which they have provided a comprehensive explanation that is given here. Microsoft Excel is the most popular spreadsheet program in the market today. You can use Excel to work with numbers. In fact, whenever you use numbers, calculating taxes, maintaining a budget, inventories, price lists, expenses and expenditures, or anything else, Excel can help make your work easier, quicker and more accurate, which means Excel helps in storing and organizing the data in the form of table, and it even helps in performing calculations ranging from simple to complex with more accuracy. You can even use Excel as a database for entering and storing records. However, the real power of Excel comes from manipulating all this information. Data you enter in Excel is stored in a file called the workbook. Within each workbook, you can add numerous individual worksheets to hold your data. You can use Excel's formatting tools to make your spreadsheet data easier to read and interpret, which means Excel even works like a database where data is stored in the form of workbook containing multiple sheets all together. Excel even provides with formatting tools that can be used to analyze the data effectively. Few more points have been enlisted there on the screen to make the topic comprehensive enough, so let's read them. MS Excel is a spreadsheet developed by Microsoft. It is considered as the application software. Spreadsheet. What is a spreadsheet? An electronic document in which data is arranged in the form of rows and columns of a grid used for calculations. It is an interactive computer application for organization, analysis, and storage of data in tabular form. It is used for complex calculations as many functions and formulae can be applied to the data entered in it. Let's now understand the Excel window and various features associated with it. So, the first part here where book 1 Microsoft Excel is written, this is considered as title bar because it is used to identify the title of the Excel sheet. The buttons, 3 buttons here, minimize, maximize and close, these 3 buttons all together are considered as control buttons. One more thing which is not labeled here on the screen is this place where save, undo, redo options are shown. This particular place is considered as quick access toolbar. Then under this title bar we have another bar which is considered as menu bar, which is containing various tabs in it: home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, review and view. Then here in the left corner we have this box which is considered as name box. But why is it considered as name box? As it is used to identify the name of the selected cell. So right now here this cell is selected and that is why it is considered as active cell, as Whatever data we are going to type is going to be entered in this particular cell, and the address of this active cell is visible here in the name box, so it is used to identify the name of the active cell. Then beside this name box we have this fx bar that is considered as the formula bar, because whatever formula and functions we want to apply to perform the calculations are to be entered in the same bar. Then this is a complete spreadsheet in the form of table. The vertical part of this spreadsheet is considered as column, whereas the horizontal part of this worksheet is considered as row, which is labeled with red. Next we have another screenshot specifying few more parts of this Excel sheet. Here where these alphabets are written, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, these alphabets are considered to identify the columns uniquely, therefore they are considered as column address. Where these numbers are written 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, these numbers are used to identify the rows uniquely, that is why they're considered as row addresses. At the bottom we can see the sheet tab also, where 3 different sheets are displayed. By default all the Excel sheets have 3 sheets in them, but we can add more sheets, and this is the icon to add new sheets to the workbook. Here we have the navigation bars. We have 2 navigation bars. This is the vertical and this is the horizontal to navigate through the Excel sheet. And we have the zoom bar also here, which is used to zoom in and zoom out the Excel sheet. And these are the 3 buttons which are used to change the view of the Excel. Now here we have the practical session in which we will study the way to identify the cell address in the Excel. So how we are going to identify? Here we have the Excel. Suppose I have selected this cell over here. We all know that active cell, whenever we select a cell, that is considered as the active cell, and name box is used to represent the address of this particular cell. So here it has already specified D9 here, as the address of the cell is D9, but if we want to identify the address of the cell manually, then what is the way to identify? First we are required to check the column address in which the cell is existing. So here the cell is placed in the column D. So first comes the address D, and then we will identify the row in which the cell is present. The cell is present in row 9. So we will be placing numeral 9. So these 2 things collectively form the address of the cell. That is why the cell is considered as D9. Now I am going to select another cell and we will identify the address of that cell. Now I have selected this cell and we will identify the address of this cell. So the column in which the cell is present is K. That means first the alphabet that is going to come is K, and then we will identify the row in which the cell is present. The row is 13. So together they make up the address of the cell. This address of the cell is K13. We will try another address. We will try to identify the address of another cell. Suppose I have selected this cell now. Now again we will identify the address of the cell. The address of the column here is G, and the address of the row in which the cell exists is 18. So the address of this particular cell is G18. So this is how we are going to identify the addresses of the cell manually. Here we have formula and function on the screen. Formula and function are the most important features of MS Excel, as they are used to perform calculations on the data that is stored. But here exists the difference between the 2 terms. And what is the difference? Let's identify. These functions are predefined formulae that are provided by Excel to perform multiple calculations. They are ready-made and are handy enough to be used. For example, sum, average, min, max, SUMIF and etc. These are the functions which are already defined in Excel. Whereas formulae are considered as user defined, in which operators like plus is used for addition, hyphen is used for subtraction, asterisk is used for multiplication, and forward slash for division, and many more. These operators are used for performing calculations on the data stored. I have even specified the example here, in which I have written equal to A1 plus B1. This A1 and B1 are the cell addresses that we are adding with the help of this operator that is placed in between them. Now here we have another practical session in which we are going to check that how we can enter a formula, and the operator that we are going to use here is plus, that is used for adding the cells. Then we will be using sum, average, min and max function. One more important thing that is to be noted here, I have enlisted a point here. To enter any function or formula, we are first required to enter equal to sign. To make any function and formula effective and to make it run effectively, we are required to enter equal to sign first. Here sum function is used to add the values, average function is used to find the average of the selected values, min function is used to find the minimum value, that means the least value out of the selected cells, and max function is used to identify the maximum value, that is the greatest value out of the selected range. So again we'll check out how we can perform this. I have already made a sheet for this, and in this sheet I have specified the result of various students and the marks obtained by them in various subjects. So here is the column in which we are going to place the total marks obtained by the students. So first I will be selecting this cell, as this is the place where I want to add the digits together. First I will be using plus operator, and we will identify that how we can enter a formula in Excel. So I have selected a cell first, then we will be moving on to the formula bar. Again, the prerequisite for any formula and function is first we are required to enter the equal to sign. This signifies any particular thing to be a formula or a function. Then after equal to sign, the first cell that we are going to add, in which 58 marks is placed, this is the marks of English which is obtained by Anuradha. The address of the cell is G8. So first we will be entering G8. Then we will be placing operator plus. Hindi marks are placed in this cell, and the address of the cell is H8. So we will be entering H8 here. Then again plus operator, identifying that we are adding the values together. Then max marks are placed in this cell, and the address of the cell is I8. So we will be entering I8 here, and then again plus operator. Science marks are placed in this cell, and this is considered as J8. So we will be entering J8 here, and then again plus sign. SST marks are placed in cell K8. So we will be entering this value K8, address of the cell, and again plus sign. And the last computer marks is placed in this cell, that is 91, L8, and then we will press enter. This is how we have calculated, we have added these digits all together without taking much time, and this is how we have entered the formula. Now we will be using the function that is already defined in this Excel, and they're handy to use. We don't need to enter the cell addresses again and again. We are just required to place the range of the cells that we want to add. So in the next cell we are going to use function to add these marks which are obtained by Arjun. So first we have selected the cell in which we are going to place the addition, and then we will be moving on to the fx bar. Again the prerequisite, that is the equal to sign, and then we will be writing sum, and then we will place the parenthesis, and in between the parentheses we are required to place the range of the cells. So this is the range of the cells. Range of the cells means the continuous cells that you want to add. These are the continuous cells that we want to add. So in this we are just required to identify the first cell as well as the last cell. So the first cell here is G9. Then to specify the range the operator used is colon, and the last cell here is where computer marks are placed, that is L9. So we have specified the range of the cells, it has already selected, and then we will press enter. This is how the sum is calculated, just by entering the range of cells and using the formula, using the function which is already defined in Excel. Now rather than entering the formula and function again and again, we can even drag the function downwards, and this can again save our time. So if we want to copy the formula to the cells below, we are required to place our cursor at the bottom of the cell, and now the cursor has changed itself into fill handle. We will keep a hold of it and drag it downwards. This is how we are going to copy the formula, and this saves our time. It has calculated and it has changed the range of cells also. If you could see, I'm changing the selection, and here the selection of the ranges are also changing. Next we will identify that how we can use the average function. So the column for average is this. So first we will find the average, that is average marks that is obtained by Anuradha. So I have selected the cell here. Again we will be moving on to the formula bar. We will be placing equal to sign, then average, parenthesis, and in between the parenthesis we will be placing the range of cells. So the range of cell is G8, then colon, last cell, that is L8, and we will press enter. This is how we have calculated the average, and now we can drag this formula to the cells below, and thus we can save our time. Again we will be selecting the cell, we will be placing our cursor at the bottom of the cell. This gets converted into the fill handle shape. We will keep a hold of it and drag it downwards, and this is how we have copied the formula. Next we will find that how we can use the max and the minimum function. First we need to find the maximum marks that is obtained in English. So I have placed my cursor here, I have selected this cell, then we will move on to the fx bar, equal to, we want to identify the maximum value, so max function, parenthesis, and in between these parentheses we are going to place the range of cells. The range of cells is this way now. So first cell here is G8 ratio, and the last cell is G15, and we will press enter. So it has simply identified that the maximum value, the maximum marks obtained in English is 86, and that is obtained by Bhavna. And we can copy the cell. Again we will place our cursor at the bottom of the cell, it will get converted into fill handle, and we will drag it towards our right. And this is how we have copied the formula to the different cells, thus saving our time. So here in maths maximum marks is 97, in science it is 93, and so on. Similarly we can find the minimum value, minimum marks obtained by the student in English. Again we will select the cell, we will place our cursor in the fx bar, we will place equal to sign, then min, again the parenthesis, and the range of cells. G8 is to G15, and then we will press enter, and simply we have identified that the minimum marks obtained in English is 58, that is obtained by Anuradha, and again we can drag this formula to the right, and this is how we have saved our time, and without taking much time we have calculated our values. Next practical session is we will be calculating the loan terms using PMT function. Now here PMT stands for payment, but what is this PMT function and for what purpose it is being used in Excel? PMT function is used in Excel to calculate payments or installments for a loan, or if you have invested money somewhere, so it is used to calculate the payment or the installment based on interest rate, number of payments, and the total loan amount. So we will be checking out that how we can use PMT function in Excel. I have made another sheet for this in which I have already entered principal value, interest amount and number of months, but here we want to calculate the monthly payment or the monthly installment based on these three values. So first we'll be selecting the cell in which we want to calculate the installment, and then we will move on to the tab formula, and from here we will be selecting insert function. As I have already used PMT function, so it is coming under the category of most recently used, but if it is not coming here in your software, then you are required to select this financial category. It will come up there. So here is the PMT function, double click on it, and this is the dialog box that will appear on the screen. So first it is asking the address of the cell in which we have placed our rate. So the interest rate that is placed, it is placed in the cell H12. Rather than entering it manually, we can even select the cell and it will automatically obtain the address of that cell. Next is NPER, that is number of payments for the loan. Number of payments that we want for the loan is 60. So we are going to select this cell, and once I have selected, it has automatically obtained the address of the cell. And next is the PV, that is the present value, and it is present in here in the principal, and I've selected this cell. It has automatically again obtained the address of the cell, and then we will press OK, and here is the value that we have obtained. The value is coming in negative because this represents the cash flow out, so that is why the minus sign is present here. Now let's check out another thing. Next important feature of Excel is goal seek. But what is goal seek? It is a very powerful tool for finding a way to reach your goal, as the name suggests. For example, we can understand it with the help of example only. If you need a loan for a new home, your goal might be to pay a specific monthly amount depending upon your budget. So the goal seek feature is used to show how you can reach your goal by adjusting one of the loan terms such as interest rate or loan amount. For example, we will be using the same data. It is displaying that the monthly installment that we are required to pay is 10,000, but it is out of our budget. So we want to keep it 5,000, and in turn we want to adjust this interest part. So how we can do that? First we will be selecting this cell, then we will select this data tab, and then under this data tab we will be selecting this feature what if analysis. Under this what if analysis we will obtain goal seek. Once we will select goal seek, this is the dialog box that will appear. As I have already selected the cell that I want to adjust, so it has automatically obtained the address of that cell. Now the value that I want for it is, right now it is 10,000. I want it to become 5,000 because it is appropriate for my budget and I want it to change. So I'll be keeping 5,000 here, and then which cell I want to adjust. So I want to adjust this interest rate here. So I have selected this cell, and once I have selected, I have just tapped over it. It has automatically obtained the address of the cell. Then we will be pressing OK, and see, it has obtained our target value, and to obtain the target value it has changed the interest rate, which was earlier 5%. Now it has been made as 1.44. Now the next feature is product and the square root functions. So for what these functions are being used in Excel, product function is used to multiply two or more numbers, whereas a square root function is used to calculate the square root of a number. So we will check that how we can use these functions in Excel. I have already created a sheet for this as well. So this is the table in which I have placed the values for two variables x and y, and in these two columns we will be identifying the product as well as a square root. So first we will identify the product. So I am selecting the cell in which I want my product to be placed. So now we will be placing our cursor in fx bar, again equal to sign. The function is product, and then again we'll be placing the parenthesis, and then we'll be selecting the range of cells that we want to multiply. So the first range here is 4, that means E6, the address of the cell, is 2, the address of next cell, that is F6, and we will press enter. So 4 9s are 36. It has calculated this accurately, and again we will copy the formula by just dragging this formula, keeping a hold of this fill handle and dragging it downwards. So it has calculated the product now, and here in this column we will be finding the square root of the column Y. So how we will be finding the square root? Again we will be selecting the column, we will be placing the cursor here. The formula for square root is SQRT, and then the parenthesis, and in between the parenthesis we are only required to select one cell, and the cell for which we want to find the square root is 9, and then press. So I have selected this, it has automatically obtained the address of the cell, and we will press enter. So it has correctly obtained the square root of this 9, it is 3, and then again we can copy this formula to the cells below by just dragging. So this is how the product and square root functions work. Next we'll be checking out the practical session for SUMIF function, but first let's check that what are the benefits of using SUMIF function. You can use conditional sums. So SUMIF, as the name suggests, this allows us to use a particular condition to add the digits together. So this can be, you can use this conditional sum to identify the sum of particular numbers in a field. For this we use SUMIF function. SUMIF takes 3 arguments. It takes a range of numbers, the condition that is to be applied, and then the range on which the condition applies. So let's check out that how we can use the SUMIF function. I have again created a sheet for this, and in this I have created a data in this that is showing the computer course opted by different candidates, and we are offering 3 types of course, that is hardware, software and networking. Here we are required to find the total fees for the hardware course, the total fees submitted for the software course, and the total fees that is submitted for networking course. So rather than identifying this manually, we can use SUMIF function by placing a criteria, first for hardware, then for software, then for networking. Let's check out that how we can do that. First we will select the cell in which we want to place our answer, and then we will select the tab formula, then insert function. Here again SUMIF function is coming in the category of most recently used because I have already used this. You can select the appropriate category, or you can specify the description here SUMIF and press go. It will come up here. So I'm selecting SUMIF here by double clicking, and this is the dialog box that appears. So first it is asking for range, and this range is used for referencing the data to apply the criteria. So the criteria that I want to apply is on the hardware course. So the range of cells that I'm going to select is all the cells under the course category. So first cell here is G7, in which the first entry is made. So I'm just clicking onto it, and it is directly obtaining the address of the cell, then ratio to identify the range, and the last cell over here is G17. So again I'll just tap on this cell, and it has automatically obtained the address, that is G17 here. So I have selected the range and it is being highlighted here. Next, the criteria that I want to apply here is I want to find the total fees for the hardware, for the text hardware. So as hardware is a string, so it is to be placed in double inverted commas. But if you are entering any numerical value, or you are placing a criteria on a number, then double inverted commas are not required. Next is we'll be identifying the sum range, the digits that the range that we want to be added. So the range that is to be added is from H7 till H17. So now we have completed the data, we have selected the range, summary range also, and then we will press OK. So it has automatically identified that the total fees that is paid for hardware course is 20,000. We can even manually check this, that if it is correctly calculated. So the fees for hardware is 5,000 and hardware is coming 1, 2, 3, 4 times here. So 4 5s are 20. It has correctly calculated the value 20,000. Same we can do for the software. Again, we will be selecting the cell in which we want to place our answer, and then we will again insert a function SUMIF by double tapping on this. Again, this dialog box will appear. It will ask for the range on which the criteria is to be placed. We will be placing the range of the cells on which criteria is to be placed. Now the criteria is software. I will be selecting this keyword software. Then the sum range, it is starting from H7 till H17, and then press OK. Now it has calculated the fees, total fees that is submitted for software, and same we can do for networking as well. Next we have a practical session for generating the series. We can even generate the series using Excel. Excel also saves our time. It recognizes the series from a single cell, such as the days of the week or the month. It will save your time to complete the text or number series for you. So we will try to enter both the series. We will enter text series as well as the number series in this. So let's check out that how we can enter. So here I am entering the random numbers 1, 2, and I want to enter up till digit 40. So rather than manually entering this data, you can just place your cursor at the bottom of the digit, at the bottom of the cell. It will get converted into fill handle. Press a hold of it and drag it downwards. So right now it is copying to here. Here is this menu bar. This is the autofill option that is coming up, and it is showing the drop down menu as well. If you will tap this drop down menu, it will provide you with these options. I will be selecting fill series here, and once I have selected fill series, it has automatically changed the sequence and it has automatically filled the data up till 21, which would have taken time for me to enter it manually. So Excel also do this for you. The only thing is, if you require to enter the continuous values, then it provide you with a series, and this is the number series. We can even enter the data series as well using the Excel. Suppose I want to enter the days. So first I have just entered Sunday. Again I will be selecting the cell, placing the cursor at the end of the cell. It is getting converted itself into fill handle. Keep a hold of it and then drag it downward. It has automatically identified the series of weekdays. So this is how we can use Excel to even generate the series for us without manually entering the data. So that's all for today. You all are requested to practice all the features that are explained using this video today, and read the topics from your book as well. Read chapter 3, go through all the topics, practice entering formula and functions, and practice all the features that are specified. Thank you students, and take care.